Hello, welcome, and good morning. It's Saturday morning. I've got my coffee. I'm just about to roll up, and I think we have a really exciting discussion ahead of us today. I'm going to be joined by Annie and Brian, who I met online as we meet people nowadays. Before we get into the show, I just want to remind you all we've been on a run recently. We've extended invites to gubernatorial candidates. So far, one of the three have responded and actually sat down with me recently for a conversation on cannabis policy and so much more. Episode 306. Check it out. We've also recently sat down with Chicago Tribune reporter Robert McCoppin in episode 301, and we've done so much more, but I won't belabor you with all of those details, folks. It's about to get hot and spicy in this episode of
The Cole Memo.
The Cole Memorandum.
The Cole Memo.
The Cole Memo.
The Cole Memorandum.
I mean, you have to respect the memo.
All right. So I hope you have your coffee, your bowl's loaded, all that good stuff. And to start off, I'm going to bring Annie on stage to introduce themselves. Annie, my first time meeting you. I've talked to Brian over the years online about the subject of hemp, but I just wanted to allow you the opportunity to introduce yourself to me and my audience.
Well, good morning, and I sincerely appreciate your time and allowing me on your platform. I absolutely adore everything you've been doing on YouTube, so I'm gracious. Thank you very much for that. My name's Annie Rommelfanger, is how you say that last name. I am a cannabis advocate. I started off as a patient back in 2015. Because of who my husband was, he's a legacy grower from some of the forums up in the Seattle area. I got to meet a lot of people. I got to learn a lot about the industry. Never smoked weed until I was 33 years old. So this has been a journey for me, and I'm sincerely looking forward to discussing what's going on with the whole hemp ban and getting maybe my perspective out there. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Brian, you've called into the show once. I just thought of that. So technically, welcome back. Brian, please introduce yourself to folks that may not know you.
Yeah, I have a very interesting background. I just to go into give you like a 5-minute background. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I was an altar boy with the Dare Bear. This plant was not on my radar at all on any way, shape, or form. I went from high school into the military into big box retail, and back in 2002. Walmart sent me to run the Northern California district for them. And oh boy, I was the guy that implemented drug tests and sent sailors home for this plant. Had never even really seen it, and landed in Northern California. Overheard some folks that worked for me talking about cannabis one day, and I literally turned around and said, "I'm drug testing all of you tomorrow." And they freaked, and they were like, "Wait a minute, Brian, you're in Northern California. We have Prop 215. Like, this is medicine." And I was like, "Yeah, right." Well, these folks just happen to be third and fourth generation growers from Humboldt County and the surrounding area. And they, for some reason, liked me and educated me. And they didn't teach me how to smoke. They taught me how to rent out houses, grow in every room, pay a guy to sleep on the couch, and bring medicine to the patients. And that was kind of the Prop 215 thing, is you got everybody's recommendation and you grew for them. So I started doing that, and because I was the Walmart guy, I had met a lot of powerful people in the mayors and supervisors, and I went to them and told them that I wanted to be as legit as I could. And they asked me to help them figure it out, because these places were popping up everywhere and they didn't have ordinances in places and stuff like that. So I worked with them, and it's funny because, one of them told me, I put together what I think was kind of an application, and I gave it to them, and they were like, this is amazing. We need your help, me and a couple other folks, and go ahead and open your doors, and we're going to sue you for the tax money that we think you owe us when we figure this all out. So, that was my first really step in the industry, and I saw how hard it was and decided to start helping other folks. So I've been blessed. I have been able to work in over a dozen different states on the marijuana side, starting help over 200 people open their businesses. And about 5 years ago, 6 years, Texas was supposed to expand their medical program, and I wanted to be boots on the ground. So my family and I moved out here. And very shortly after we got settled in, they yanked the carpet out from underneath us and they said, we're not expanding right now. So here I was in Texas with clients across the United States, nothing in Texas. And I was like, well, what is this hemp thing? And I looked into it and I was like, I just stepped back in time 20 years. Like, oh my God. So I jumped in on the hemp side and I started, helping people open their businesses on the hemp side and be compliant as compliant can get on the hemp side. About half of my clients launched their hemp brands and the other half won't talk to me anymore. So, and
Okay.
very interesting. So, it's just been an incredible journey. This plant is incredible. I saw Annie online and I looked into her story, and it's amazing the medical side, what she's been able to accomplish from what I can see. So I'm looking forward to this discussion. But that's me in a big nutshell.
Yeah.
So
Well, I want to remind folks that we are live right now, so drop comments as we go through. Annie and Brian, thank you both for your time. And I guess maybe we'll just start there since Brian seemingly made his position on hemp pretty clear. Annie, where do you come at this topic from?
So I'm pro decriminalization. I am pro removing cannabis completely from the controlled substance list, like we should have back in the 70s. And currently, with the current hemp situation, my mentor is a gentleman by the name of Steve Sarich, who started in Washington State with the medical cannabis program and the 692 program up in Washington. And when him and I met back in, that would have been 2015, we started talking about the legalization bill. That's how we met, was the legalization bill in Arizona back in 2016. From that moment, he instructed, he's guided, he's shown me, he's proven himself about how the industry, how the hemp industry potentially might have been used to replace what we knew back in California, what Brian knew in California is what medical cannabis was. And I'm sure that the market down in California was as tight knit as Washington State, but we took care of all of our patients. We made sure they had their ARSO, their flower. We did a lot of high CBD flower, a lot of 50-50 strains as well that did very well. And what I believe is that there's two separate, it has to be separate purposes for this plant. One, medicinally. And like I've said in the past, I just feel as though that medical cannabis can provide a better entourage and a better almost cocktail of medicine for our patients over CBD grown for pharmaceutical or for medical purposes. And I'm here to revive our beautiful hemp industry. We had a massive Hemp for Victory campaign here in the United States of America. And I feel as though is that some people maybe 20 years ago decided to push that aside, perhaps because it didn't make as much. They didn't want to fight for the tooling, whatever reasons they had, and decided to move hemp more towards the pharmaceutical end. And then we saw what happened in 2018. So I wholeheartedly just feel like we need to have an open conversation about what a medical product is. B, what applications we should be using hemp for, and C, is there just a better way that we can go around getting full spectrum oils and full spectrum products to our patients? That's all. I'm trying to be as common sense as possible, but I know that sounds a little radical to some.
Brian.
No, I can't disagree with anything she says. Look, I am a big believer that people need to be able to use medical marijuana and work with their doctors. And there will always be a group of folks that want to work with their doctors and truly treat it as medicine. And I'm also a big believer that in the end we should have medical marijuana and adult use hemp. And that is kind of always been my stance. Like these markets that are limited markets where big multi-state operators, monopoly state operators, like I like to call them, they come into states like Texas and Alabama and some other states, Florida, and they say medical, 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 and they get their foothold in here. And then they start pushing for recreational and killing the hemp industry. And that is my biggest pet peeve is these folks that come in on this medical, just cheerleading medical and then switch the script. It's sad. And, like I said, I saw Annie's background and why she's in this industry, and it's incredible. I mean, the reason I am in this industry is because my dad passed away when I was 17 from cancer. And if I knew then what I know now, it would be a different world. I remember him in the back room, laying in bed, and my aunt came over and him saying, screaming from the back room, "Get your hippie aunt out of my house," because that was my upbringing. But again, the medical aspect of this is so important. And there will always be people who need to work with their doctor who wants this to be their medicine. But I think it's all medicine. I mean, whether it's adult use hemp or medical marijuana, people are using it for things that ail them. So I can't disagree with Annie at all. Like this started as medical.
It started as medical, but I guess I want to pitch it back to you both that as far as I'm concerned, I guess you have a state like Texas where they do call it a prescription and they do seem to give you a dosage and a regime, but then you have a state like my own where my medical doctor gave me my doctor gave me a recommendation, and unlike any other prescription he gives me, I go to the store and I buy whatever I want versus like a prescription where it's like, Cole, you're going and you're getting this at this dosage. I guess what I'm saying is I do sense a little bit of, I don't want to say disagreement here, but we're maybe on the same different page here, because what I heard Annie say was there should be distinct uses. Some people really value a medical use. It seems like there was also discussion about parting ways with the industrial uses of hemp, which we can get back to. I'm supportive of medical cannabis. I'm a medical cannabis patient, but I also just think that when I really think about the early days of medical cannabis, like California, and these early days of hemp, the only thing that's missing is the quote unquote recommendation from the doctor. Am I wrong?
No, and I don't think it works in Texas, because how ignorant would someone be to say that something would work for everybody across the board when it comes to cannabis?
True.
It just proves that there's people making these rules that have no idea anything about our personal struggles, our needs, our they're basic human demands. Just let me have access to my medication. Because we tried doing what you did. I'm sure you did too as well, going to the doctor, and it just doesn't work. I mean, since I was 17 years old, doctors don't work, but this did. And I can't tell you why. I don't know why, but it did. So for me, my regimen is much different than yours and much different than yours, Brian. It's just, it's silly. That's silly to me.
Yeah. So I guess where is the disagreement in cannabis policy here? Because I'm getting the sense that, the one disagreement I'm hearing is like sort of grabbing onto the terms. So I heard Brian, you say medical marijuana and adult use hemp. Like, why can't we just deschedule cannabis entirely, drop these arbitrary terms, and stop this debate?
That's a great question. And it's interesting to watch that. Look, when I got in this industry, I never thought I'd have to know law or politics, but here we are. And we are literally a pawn in the political game being in this
And if I
industry.
could, sorry, like I've been getting frustrated because it's like I feel like I'm setting up a debate between two pro cannabis people when it used to be that I was inviting the people from Sam on and the people from Normal on, and we were having like a true debate where it's
I
like
think
at
at
the
this point in I think at this point in time, we're just trying to hash out the details. Like we're all on the same team. We want this to happen. Unfortunately, I think a lot of the current hemp people had no idea what was going on in the industry 10 years ago. And that's the big problem. They weren't in the rooms, they weren't talking to the politicians, they don't know. And a lot of people are subscribing to this that they feel like they need to continue this weird like allowance of these franken cannabinoids. And there's just so much misinformation that I'm glad that Brian and I are sitting down and talking because I know that we don't agree on everything. I don't think that adult use hemp market, like what would that be? What is that? What does that look like? What products is that?
What? Okay, so let's look at the Farm Bill. The Farm Bill blew the doors off the barn. Like it allowed for converted cannabinoids, it allowed for all of this stuff. More importantly, it allowed for the THCA flower. So the thing is, I don't think we're going to disagree on a lot. I think what we're going to disagree on is hemp is just as good and in some instances better than our medical programs. In
Well,
Texas,
let's talk about that real quick. Let
Yeah.
me interrupt you for just a moment because I don't want to lose this thought. What is THCA flower?
What is THCA? It's the same thing. THCA, this plant grows THCA.
Right.
And as it ripens, it converts to D9. And these growers, if they're good enough, and understand there are some really good growers on the hemp side because they have to get their test and pull their plant before it reaches that 0.3. Folks on the marijuana side do not have to worry about that. So these hemp growers,
Even then, Brian, the levels, I'm looking at some products right in front of me. From the dispensary, there's a 0.48.
yeah,
Here's and it admittedly is over the hemp threshold. The point I'm trying to make is the cannabis plant does not naturally produce high levels of D9.
no, it doesn't.
I've seen many that could qualify as hemp on the dispensary menu. Is my point. Sorry, continue. I didn't
Majority.
mean to cut you off. Yep.
Yeah, majority can qualify as hemp on the dispensary level. That is 100% true. And that's why I'm saying these growers that are on the hemp side that are doing it correctly, they have to track that stuff. They have to make sure that they pull before it reaches that 0.3. And honestly, a lot of the growers that are on the hemp side used to be on the marijuana side, and they've just, come over to this side. Or a lot of folks will pull their crop early in the licensed market. They'll pull their crop early, tell Metric that it died, and roll it into the hemp side.
Yeah,
So
what happened is a disjustice in 2018. He muddied the waters is what happened. What happened was the waters were muddied because anybody who's an actual medical caretaker or grower or educator knows what THCA is and what it does when you burn off that acid complex. And so when we were sitting there and everybody was cheering like seals when they said, oh, now THCA is legal. Why do I have a license? Why do I pay? Why do I have to pay for a license now? Why can't I just sell pot online? Because that's what you essentially did. You're now selling what is sold in a dispensary in California across state lines to other people. That's all it is. But we were lying
100%.
about that.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, the government blew the door off the barn with
Then why
this.
do people take advantage of it? If you knew better, why'd you take advantage of it? That's my biggest question for this industry is you knew better. Not you personally, but the industry itself knew better. Why? Why didn't anyone stop and say, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing this? But no, everyone continued. Now everyone's shocked. Everyone's absolutely shocked right now at what's happening. It's like, you knew you're supposed to be a professional. You're saying that nobody said anything. And then on top of that, why didn't any of the MSOs sue?
Oh, MSOs have sued in a half dozen different states because they're mad because it's competition. And I will say this, why did we do it, or why did the hemp industry do it? Because they could. And why did the government put the definition of the Farm Bill the way they did? Because they were allowing it all. And some people did get overboard. Some people did start creating things that they shouldn't have created. But there are good players in the hemp side that follow the rules, that take that definition to heart. And I will say, hemp streamlined this. Hemp brought this plant to the general public. So instead of everybody being mad at hemp, they should be thanking hemp, because when we were rolling out state by state, slow rolling this process, only letting the big players in, we were not moving fast at all. I was there. But hemp blew the doors open. It got this in the hands of people who didn't want to hear about marijuana, but you call it hemp and they're interested. So, maybe we should be thanking the hemp industry. And again, I'm on both sides of this fence. But I say my marijuana side says, thank you, hemp, for bringing this mainstream. Do you think we would have got to the president's desk as marijuana? No, we got there because we started calling it hemp.
I would completely 100% disagree with you on that. I think, if I had to guess, this is what I think. I think that medical cannabis started back in the 1990s and was so successful, they couldn't have anything to do with it. Just imagine if we were able to use our knowledge like we did in Seattle and LA and San Francisco and help all of those people instead of the pharmaceutical companies coming in. What would have happened? What would have happened if we would have decriminalized cannabis back in the 1970s, if normal didn't get in the way? What would have happened back then? So to sit here and say that hemp is the thing that brought everything to the White House, I don't know about you, but I've been communicating with the White House since 2016 about everything that's been going on. And that hemp, it was a test. That was an absolute litmus test to see who had honesty and integrity in the industry. And you're right, I did see a lot of marijuana guys go to hemp. How interesting was that? So perhaps it was just a trap, because like I said, everyone knew that it was wrong, but everybody did it anyway. And no, it doesn't make it more digestible if you call marijuana hemp. It's called cannabis. And medical cannabis, we were pretty much on the up and up, it felt like, until this farm bill. Like, we were actually had a shot to decriminalize cannabis. But unfortunately, money got involved, and the whole plan that started 30 years ago didn't stop, because it can't stop. Because the entire industry, the hemp industry and the cannabis industry, are absolutely rigged to fail. That is a guarantee. Their fail-safe is to destroy it all, so you guys don't know about the truth and about all of the backdoor deals and about everything that has happened to accumulate to how we are now. So I have to disagree with you. I don't think hemp is the hero. I think over the last 6 years, the amount of hemp burned in the United States of America would make most people absolutely sick. There's just two completely different stories being told in hemp.
So, Brian, did you want to respond to that? Or I'm trying to let you guys just have a conversation, because Twitter sometimes doesn't allow for this nuanced conversation, like with the little, like with the character limit and such. So I'm like letting you go, but I'm happy to spin this in a different direction, because you guys have, not in a different direction, but just using some things you both have said. But Brian, did you want to respond?
No, we're going to disagree. We're going to agree to disagree on this one. I think that hemp brought this plant to the forefront of everything. I think that now, because we called it hemp, that people that did not want to talk about it is talking about it. So
So
I
this
mean,
is the
maybe
part.
it's
Oh, go
boomers.
ahead.
You're
ahead.
right. You're right about that. Maybe the boomers. You're right. I'll give you that.
Well, thank you. It's nice to see
thank you,
people.
Eddie.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
My thing that I keep seeing with this is, again, I tried to point it out earlier, is somebody who does not have, I'm not in the business, I'm just a consumer. Like, I don't really care which term we use. I prefer to use cannabis, as Annie said earlier. But like, I see a lot of like almost bandwagoning, just for lack of better words, where it's like, oh, hemp did this, and but marijuana did this, and it's like, okay, we're on the same team here, so this is where it starts to feel, like that's the part that I'm trying to get to. So one of the things you said, Annie, earlier was you're pro removing it from the CSA. You've both established your pro decriminalization. I've covered several people that have just been selling weed here in the state of Illinois, because that's still, even though it's legal, it's still illegal mostly to sell weed without a license, and you can't get a license, I guess is my point.
No.
It's very hard to get a license in the state of Illinois is really the point. And so criminalization in a state like Illinois and in many other states like Texas continues. And so I do think that the Farm Bill has provided a layer of decriminalization in the sense that I've been able to get seeds delivered to my door, flour delivered to my door, products delivered to my door, some from the dispensaries here in Illinois. And I don't mean to say literally, but they're like the same brand. And so I guess in the spirit of being pro removing it from the CSA and pro decriminalization, the one thing I've always thought was short-sighted about hemp is the arbitrary nature of the definition, the 0.3% and all that stuff. But aside from that, the fact that it is off of the CSA, I'm like, hey, there's the baby step. Like, we're almost there. Can we just expand it to 100%? Anyway, though, I guess that's a question for you, Annie. If you're pro removing it from the CSA and pro decrim, hemp undebatably, I think, delivers on some of those things. How would you make it better?
So that's actually a pretty good question, because I'm not anti-hemp. No matter what anybody says, I feel that there are uses for certain medical applications that THC cannot provide. However, we can still extract CBD from certain cultivars. So hemp was never, it was never allowed in the I-502 industry when I had our business. We couldn't use hemp isolates. We weren't allowed to. We had to use naturally occurring cannabinoids. So I had to grow my own high CBG and my own high CBD flower. And we did. We named it the Revival. We bred a strain. It is 25-1 CBD to THC. And it was phenomenal. But you know what? I haven't been able to find that. And I visited hemp farms in Wisconsin and in Illinois and all over. I visited multiple dispensaries over 10 different states, and nothing compared to what we had up in the I-502 market in Washington State. And it's not that I don't think that hemp could do that. I just think their minds are on this. And it's every time I meet these farmers, like, look at all my field, look at how, and it's gorgeous. There's nothing like standing on a miles worth of just nothing but beautiful hemp growing. It is one of the most awesome sights ever. But I feel as though that people are trying to push it into a box, and by supporting all of the adult use stuff that could be cannabis, like, we've got a better way, right? Like, we could be using all of this for if we could agree that maybe the adult use drinks and stuff go to cannabis. And then, like, I want hemp plastics. I want a hemp Tesla. I'm tired of looking at, particle board and insulated homes. I want hempcrete. When I start to see the hemp guys, like how it was back maybe 15 years ago, like super excited to get back in the fields instead of sitting behind a desk and peddling distillate, that's when I will feel in my soul that maybe hemp has a shot. But right now, like I said, I feel as though that we're trying to force it somewhere that it does not belong whatsoever when there's better ways. Instead of eating margarine, we don't want margarine. We want to feed the patients full fat butter. That's better for you. But there are some applications where you do, like I said, where you do need CBD, but even RSO. If you were to compare a high THC RSO to a high CBD RSO, the high THC RSO is going to help that patient whew, 10 times more. The only benefit of the high CBD RSO is you can use it during the day. But if you're sick and dying or not feeling well or on your deathbed, who cares if you can operate during the day? It's getting that patient stable and their body in homeostasis and better and getting the quality of life back. And I look at the hemp industry. I look at the past of the hemp industry. I look at how we were required to grow hemp at the beginning of the birth of our nation. George Washington never intended for it to sit in a lab and then be picked apart and put back together and called HTPC and PPTFE and whatever the hell that they're doing. That's not the intention of hemp. Hemp is supposed to be for food, homes, and fuel. And this just exploded into something, I think, because they didn't want medical cannabis because it's so effective.
And I think that's where I think this, Brian, if I can, and
Yeah.
I'll let Annie expound and then let you respond. I just want to give her a chance to clarify. That's where I think this debate actually is. I think we're all on board on the all natural cannabis plant. I think it's silly that we're calling it hemp or marijuana, just it's cannabis. But I think where the disagreement is, and just correct me if I'm wrong here, you're I'll again establish because you've said it a few times and we've just mentioned it and we've passed on it, and again we can devote time to it, but I want to devote more time to this other subject. You've mentioned the industrial uses and how you feel like it's not being taken as much, and we can talk about that, but I really think the hemp debate is about synthetics, which is sort of what you just brought up. And so like it seems like that's where most of the conversation is here. So am I correct in sort of identifying that button, because you're talking about like franken cannabinoids and
That's a
separating
big
stuff?
thing. That's a huge thing. And actually, actual hemp cultivars don't have any resin in them. And they're bred that way so you can run them through a decortication machine.
Yeah.
And, you won't gunk up your machines. But hemp farmers in 2026 couldn't tell you what a decortication machine is. They don't know what tooling is. They don't know where their seeds come from. The biggest thing, and I think you're right on the money, it's you're playing with something that you have an endocannabinoid system in your body naturally. So when you're piecing together these weird things that the hemp industry is doing right now and trying to pass it off as medical marijuana or whatever, we don't know what this is doing to your body.
Yeah.
Is this
I
what's
want to,
causing CHS?
right.
You're absolutely right on that. To be honest,
Brian, respond to synthetics. I just want to establish again that like what I find very interesting about it is like I've got a tent right behind these monitors and I'm growing weed, and I have like over the years, and I've been doing that under the like I buy it as hemp, but as you know, Annie and Brian, uh, it's no diff. In fact, I'm getting it from the same breeders that some of the people are in my state. Like I'm getting it from Humboldt in California. And so like it's called hemp when I start growing it, but by the end of it, I'm saying in air quotes marijuana. I just wanted to establish that as a consumer, that's what I find cool about it. But and that's where it sort of starts, begins, and ends. It's that full access to the cannabis plant, the actual cannabis plant. However, Annie, you brought up this is the topic. So Brian, please respond to the concept of synthetics. And because I interjected, Annie, feel free when Brian's done talking to like jump back in, because I took us off on that like natural quote unquote angle. And so, but I do want to give airspace to this because you've brought it up a few times.
appreciate
Yeah,
you.
and let me bring it back to your first question, which is how do we make this better on the hemp side? And that is with real federal regulations. We need rules in place now at the federal level so that these states have guidance. Because right now, the definition, like I said, blew the barn door off the barn. So as we go forward to make the hemp side better, we need clearer regulations on that. We need them to say this is allowed and this is not. And it's getting there. But that is what is going to make this better. As far as the industrial hemp side goes, I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, farmers need to make money, and making hempcrete does not pay the bills. But if they can take the flower and push that into one market and then take the sticks and stalks and stems and push it into the industrial hemp market, then they can make money and they can survive. So that is why I think industrial hemp hasn't taken over, is because it's not a moneymaker as it sits. They have to be able to pop that flower off, because I know a couple of farmers that are doing that. They take the flower and then they take the rest and make industrial hemp products. And right now, as it sits, these state licensees, that's waste. They have to dig that back into the dirt. That all goes to waste. They cannot take their waste and make industrial products out of it. So that's kind of my answer on the industrial piece of it. We could, if this was moved forward at the federal level, then those farmers can start making money by using the flower for the people and the stalks and stems for the products, for the industrial hemp products.
Not how it works.
That's not how it works. I know a couple folks that are doing it, Annie. That's exactly how it works.
Can I have you can email me, let me know what industrial hemp products they're making with their waste after selling their flower.
Yep, bedding. Yep, they're making bedding. They're making all kinds of stuff. So
you can send me that link. I'd love to see that. Thank you.
Okay, I'll make you some introductions.
Excellent.
That is how it works. That is how it can work. Why do you think that
there
it can?
There we go.
Why do you think? Why do you think
how the normal is? That's how it can work. Yes, but that's not the norm.
So what? Why can't that work? Why can't they take the stalks and stems? Explain that to me. Why can't they take the stalks and stems and make industrial products out of it?
You can, sure, but that's not how it works. That's if you're going to be growing hemp fiber, you don't care about the flower. So they're not hemp farmers. There's some sort of farmer that's growing hemp. Like, stop labeling people hemp farmers because they happen to have hemp in their fields. If I happen to put like red peppers out on my balcony and grow them, I'm not considering myself a pepper farmer. Like, they happen to be growing hemp. And what you just said is a clear indication that nobody in the actual hemp industry who is doing industrial hemp is like, gee, I'm going to harvest the flower first, and then we're going to go ahead and take the waste and do that. No, you take the whole plant, stick the whole plant into a bucket. Nobody cares. It all goes in there. So again, a hobby farm and giant, like, we're trying to revive the hemp industry to get a hemp Tesla, like a hemp Ford car. That's my goal. That's not going to do it, man. I don't need your bio waste from your THCA flower. Like, that's not it. It wasn't grown how it needs to be grown for fiber. Sorry, that's not okay.
You have not disproven what I just said, just so you know. Someone can take the plant, take the flower, and use the rest for industrial purposes. That is a fact. As far as the synthetic piece goes, Cole, I will say this, that, THCP, HHC, all this semi-synthetic products. Look, if the hemp side got to move to 1%, that would open up 90% of the flower to them. And they wouldn't have to create stuff in labs, semi-synthetic stuff. I've always been a believer. I get a lot of slack from the hemp side about that, but I don't think that all of this stuff that is converted is needed. And I think as we get more regulations, we can actually that will take care of itself, and some of that will go away.
Annie, wanted to give you space.
Cole, if I said that elephants are green and everybody believed me, is an elephant green or is it gray?
That's
What
an
I'm trying to
interesting.
get at is because the definition of hemp was changed in 2018 doesn't mean it was right. And that didn't give everybody permission to proceed. So I'm not understanding where the disconnect is, that we need to go back and rework the definitions of what hemp is and what flower is, because I can tell you that Mitch McConnell did not get a vote from Congress like they normally would. Instead, this definition was changed in back rooms. I don't think the American people really understood what happened. So what I'm trying to do, Brian, is to make sure that we're all on the same page, because not only did I not disagree with what 2018 was, what you're saying to me is like kind of hurting my heart a little bit, because you're perpetuating a lie that's arbitrary and capricious. That is not the definition of hemp. Now, maybe the DEA, after all of these hearings, after begging them, maybe they'll give us definitions, especially what a medical cannabis product is, because we're operating right now under the wild, wild west. But at some point in time, there's going to be reconciliation for all of this. Just because you bought a lie,
So,
you can't continue the lie.
so what is the definition of hemp? I guess not to take us back to square one, but like you, that's kind of like I've almost, I almost think we need to define it by chemotype. You know, type 1, 2, 3, and 4, the different cannabis chemotypes. But what's your
Honest to Christ, right now, I think it should be dependent on the resin count. I think low resonant cultivars that are grown specifically for industrial purposes should be considered hemp. Everything else is marijuana. Or, sorry, I hate that word, cannabis. Everything else is cannabis, period. If it is for human consumption, it is going under a medical cannabis program or an adult use cannabis program. If it is going for industrial use, we will pull cultivars from outside of the US in with these low resin count numbers, and we will rebuild the cannabis industry. We have hemp here in the United States already that nobody's using, but we will rebuild it. So I believe resin count and everything that's going on adult use hemp, just shift it to weed. Just shift it straight to cannabis. Why are there two different industries? It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't understand where. I really think we're just getting caught. Are we just getting caught up on the words that we're throwing around here?
It's
Because like
muddying. It's for a reason.
23.
It's for a reason.
No,
I always like to play this clip from the '90s because it's like, is this where the confusion started?
Most of this week's program is about a common plant, hemp. Hemp is a plant that has been illegal to grow in the United States since 1937. One of the uses for the hemp plant is marijuana. There are also many other uses for hemp, including making paper.
Oh no, did it start there?
there it is.
I just like, why can't we just call it all cannabis, Annie? And then, like Brian was saying earlier, then the cannabis plant, whatever you're not using for consumption, or if you're not even growing it for consumption, I guess to your point, it doesn't have to all be for consumption. Is that like, I just don't get what's the drain we're circling here when it's like deschedule all cannabis. The only difference I see between that policy proposal and hemp, the current status quo of hemp, is the arbitrary 0.3% and the lack of final product regulations. If that's something you're concerned about, by the way. I think there should still be farmers markets for cannabis.
Well, sure. There's farmers markets for carrots.
Right, right. So, but like,
I don't understand
what's
why we're trying to reinvent the wheel. I mean, when we're talking about it, it sounds absolutely ridiculous. It should be common sense, right? I mean,
Well, and let me kind of set another tone on this, and why this is split. And I hate that it's split, because again, I'm on both sides, but we have to look at what the government has done to us. They have taken medical marijuana. So medical marijuana is state legal. You can get a license for it. It is now federally legal with S3, and it is federally protected with the old Rudabacher-Farr amendment language is in another bill. So we have medical marijuana, which is state legal, federally legal, and federally protected. We have hemp, which is state legal. Some states have banned it, but it's still state legal. It is federally legal, and it is also federally protected with that language in a bill. And then we have the adult use state programs, which are state legal, they are federally illegal, and they are not federally protected anywhere. There is no language that protects the adult use state markets. So with those three things in mind, and again, yes, 0.3 below makes us call it hemp. But with those three ideas out there, what way do we think this is going to land? Do you think we're going to go back and the federal government is going to say, oh, these state legal programs are now federally protected? No, we have a hemp program that is federally protected already. Again, I go back to my thought is in the end, we are going to have medical marijuana and adult use hemp programs. Chew on that hemp derived gummy, everybody.
I'll pass. Thanks.
What?
I said I'll
Annie,
pass. Thanks.
Annie, did you have a response to that? I had a joke, but I wanted to give you the space.
Briefly, I don't think government's the problem. I think the lobbyists are the problem. And I think MPP, and I think NORML, and I think the US Roundtable, and I think the Hemp Roundtable, and I think HIFA, and I think all of these lobbyists spend so much money lying to politicians like they did in 2018. And I know what they do. Just like you said, they come in, they shake their hands, and medical's a foot in the door. That's what I heard from MPP over and over and over again. And they're all the same boilerplate bills, and it's all the same bullshit, and none of it was legalization. None of it took cannabis or hemp off the controlled substance lists. You still could get busted for DUIs. Look at Washington State. They want to bust you for having weed THC in your blood. And they were one of the first ones, right? You got to look at all of these states as litmus tests, figure out what rules they're trying to pass, because that's going to be for the entire nation. That's what Canada does. They're the regulators in all of these states that get together and hang out together and make policies and then pass that on to you. And I didn't vote for that. I know nobody voted for somebody else to make up the rules. So I thought that was the politicians' rules. So I think lobbyists need to go before I blame the government. I mean, look, we would have had decriminalized. We wouldn't even have this conversation if it wasn't for Keith Strout back in the 70s, who got Carter's drug czar high on coke and then narked on him. Like, we shouldn't even be having this fight. And I'm sad that my generation now has to pick it up where, the boomers dropped it. But, here we are. So maybe government isn't the problem. That's a radical statement too.
Can we get back? We can get back on the same side and start attacking the monopoly state operators now. I'm good with that.
Anytime, I'm ready, man.
Because I'm living it. Yeah, because I'm living it in Texas right now. Like, it is insane what has played out in Texas.
I would love to help you, because you know what? As soon as they audit themselves, because you and I know nobody followed the Cole memo. Nobody did.
No, this state, it's been pretty. Again, I'm 6 years into this state. Our medical program is absolutely horrible. We have tried to get the teacup program expanded over the year. It's been a slow roll. We finally now have 12 new conditional license holders.
I saw that, yeah.
Okay. When they originally awarded it, it was 12 out-of-state players. Our DPS messed up the scoring. That got fixed. But Yeah, we'll talk offline about what I did there. So now we have these big players, True Leave, the big players in the state lobbying hard now because they have a conditional license.
Yep.
And that is why we are sitting here with felony. Hemp is now a felony for some products in Texas. Like,
Yep.
that is how far the pendulum has already swung, because we have these big multi-state operators with skin in the game. And it is sad to watch them come in, lobby, kill hemp, expand their program. So that is what I'm living.
Too. If they had their way, they would keep it at 15.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing is the three. So when I first moved here 6 years ago and they were going to expand the program, the reason they didn't is because Texas Original threw a hissy fit. What's up, Nico? They threw a hissy fit and said, we don't need more players in this game because we're not making money yet.
Right. And then what did they do simultaneously? They expanded their hemp program, didn't they?
Texas Original did not. The state of Texas did. Yeah.
And yeah, in 2018, they surely did. Right after patients finally started getting medicine from the 2015 ruling to open it up, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so it's been a nightmare in Texas, and it's just time after time these big players come into the states and they want it all.
Well, look at some states like Florida. Should we say anything else? I'm excited for the DEA to give us definitions of what medical cannabis is, because who said distillate with artificial terpenes in a disposable container was medical cannabis? Why is that being sold in Florida? That's crazy. That's crazy talk. Like, what is a medical cannabis product? Is it going to make the patient sick in the lungs? Are you going to give them popcorn lung and CHS?
Yeah.
Do you care?
So
Is it about
Texas,
money?
so last session, Texas took vapes away from the hemp side and they gave it to the teacup side. So now the teacup program has vapes, which the teacup program does their own testing, blah, blah, blah. So that'll be interesting to see that play out.
Annie, I wanted to be respectful of your time, and I wanted to try to get an answer from both of you before we closed out. I wanted to use the 2018 Farm Bill to illustrate my point. If you scroll down to the very last page of the 2018 Farm Bill, you'll see that the legislation made conforming changes to the Controlled Substances Act. This is what it might look like if you were to make conforming changes to the Controlled Substances Act. My point is, what would be different? I think we could start by not making a narrow carve out of an arbitrary term called hemp, and the conforming change could be removing cannabis entirely. But of course, that's not the entire solution. Is it just descheduling cannabis? Like, what is the solution to this? Can you guys put it in a bottle for me?
No, because the problem has gotten so big that it's going to need multiple avenues of solutions. The biggest one is if medical cannabis is considered medicine, then we need to have insurance cover it like it would a pharmaceutical, and we need to talk about what the APIs are for what a medical cannabis product is for pharmaceutical. So are you just using cannabis or just THC, or are we going full spectrum? These are really critical questions that I've been hounding some people at the DEA for. Like, I understand the fight that we got going on, but we need definitions. The fact that we don't have solid definitions of what these things are is going to be continuing to muddy the water. And then again, if it's for adult consumption, it needs to be medical cannabis. It cannot be hemp. Hemp is for food, fuel, and fibers. And everything's still regulated, like Manitoba Hemp Company up in Canada. Still has to go through the FDA, so it still has to be processed that way. But if you're going to be calling it a medicine or a supplement, I just do not feel comfortable with the information that I know and from the actors that I've witnessed and the past that they have continually proven over and over again they have no interest in doing the right thing for the end consumer. I just cannot, in good faith, sit here and play that game anymore. I think two things: hemp, industrial, low resin count. Anything that's got a higher resin count that's for human consumption, especially if it's going to be a pharmaceutical product or something, competing with this, absolutely, like the highest. And then on top of that, one last thing, I've been pushing for a cannabis, we need a federal cannabis office. So we need consumer protections because that's one thing none of these states have done. I don't know how many times I've seen online, I've got mold, this is empty, they won't do anything about it. Like, so we're just sitting here wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars as consumers, and it's supposed to be a legal market, and we have no recourse. We can't do anything about it because it's a federal one substance. So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of problems. We have, hemp is one of the least problems in the cannabis industry right now, to be honest with you. We've got bigger problems than hemp. But the fact that we cannot be honest about what it is, the terminology, we're never going to get anywhere. We're going to play cat and mouse.
Brian, and then I'm going to give I've been holding back on my takes, but I want to give my take. Brian, go ahead if you have anything.
Yeah, the best fix, like I've said it before, is medical marijuana and adult use hemp. If we take the hemp program and tighten up the rules and regulations, then we have an adult use program across the United States. And I think that is the way to go on the adult use side. Put caps on it if you want to, make sure it's childproof, make sure it's tested, make sure all of that. But to move that hemp program and tighten it up is going to be faster, easier, and better than trying to take our limited licensed adult use cannabis program and unwind it. So that's I've said it for years, Cole. That is the best way to do this. Keep pushing forward and make the medical program in every state better, because some of these states are garbage and it's not fair. And in Texas specifically, people turn to the hemp program because our medical program was so bad and so unattainable. So if we have a medical marijuana and adult use hemp across the nation, everyone wins, including the consumers.
All right. Well, again, thank you both for sitting down with me. And Brian, I'm looking forward to, if you still have time, I want to, again, be respectful of Annie's time, but I'm looking forward to getting some hemp updates from you. I know you said you stayed up late. So when Annie drops off, we can maybe talk about the federal developments in Texas and stuff like that. But I was just, I understand what you're saying with regard to definitions, Annie, on like from the government, but I'm almost like I almost just want a definition agnostic of the United States federal government. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want something that's based in science and not so dependent on our government, because you see how it swings. And so what I've heard about this discussion particularly, and I think it lends itself exactly where you're wanting to go. You're mostly talking about, I think, type 3 cannabis, which is high CBD, and it fits that industrial hemp definition. Obviously, I'm just now showing this to you so we can talk about it more. You can get back to me on your thoughts. I'm not even saying that this is fact. I'm just saying I think this is a good starting point for a more nuanced conversation. And I think you would even argue, perhaps, Annie, that instead of growing type 3 cannabis like these hemp farmers have said, you might be saying they seem to be growing type 1 high THCA flower, and I get that argument. That's, as a consumer, that's kind of the hemp products that I seek out, because they're the ones I'm familiar with. But that's like kind of where I come at this, where I'm like, I think that's a good starting point for definitions versus waiting on some from the government, because we saw how that went with hemp, for example, when they were supposed to define the different cannabinoids and all that stuff. I think we're still waiting on synthetic ones now, or yeah, it's like, so I don't know. Since I did just respond to you directly, Annie, do you want to say anything before you part ways? I wanted to give you the final word on that.
Honest, Cole, this has been such an awesome morning. Thank you very, very much for hosting. I'm very, very happy. It's been 6 years since I've been on a podcast talking about this stuff. So thanks for the opportunity to kind of get my feet wet again. It was a lot of fun. And Brian, spirited debate. I guess we can agree to disagree on a few things. Maybe we'll be able to see eye to eye coming up in the next 6 months on a few more things. But it was a very spirited debate, and I appreciate your time and presence.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so much respect for you for what you've done and who you are. So thank you. I really appreciate you jumping on here.
Anytime.
Our
We're
listener-
all, believe it or not, we're all on the same team. We just we gotta speak the same language, and I think we can move on and hopefully make something beautiful.
Our listeners are thanking you as well, Annie. And also, I'm making a joke. This is the joke I was going to make, and somebody already made it in the chat. You said earlier, nobody's followed the Cole memo. And I was saying, well, some people do. They follow the
Some
podcast.
people do. Some people do. But 80% of them didn't.
Yeah, no, you're right. You get the joke I was making. Did you see what they wrote? They said, I've always followed the Cole Memo podcast.
Oh,
So,
I love that.
yeah. I was just making a joke. Had to stick myself into the joke somehow. So, okay, Annie, did you want to plug your social media or anything before you go?
You know what? Kinda. I'm at the point where I'm moving into a couple spaces here, so I'm trying to rebrand, get everything together. You are more than welcome to follow me and CA Rommelfanger, Romelfanger, German for rat catcher. But you can follow me. Got 2 books out. I'll put those up. Got some policy I'm working on right now. So I'm just watching. Let's keep spiritedly debating. Let's keep educating each other and pray to God we all make it through this.
Absolutely. I'll throw your Twitter on screen right now so people can, if they,
And if
want
any of
to
you
see it.
want to talk medical cannabis, I would more than happy. That's kind of my jam. So let them know. I'd be more than happy to help them either talk or maybe discuss or get them started, anything. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Brian, you still down to talk hemp?
Yeah, let's dig in. Crazy stuff going on, man.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to put a little bumper in between because I'm going to submit or release this as a standalone segment. So we'll be right back, folks. News as of 3 a.m. this morning, something like that. The Senate has rejected an amendment to keep the federal recriminalization of hemp products on track for November, and basically instead passed a White House supported provision to delay the ban to give lawmakers more time to craft a regulatory structure as an alternative to prohibition. I was actually reading that from Tom Angel on Twitter, who writes for marijuanamoment.net. I'm joined by Brian Dombrowski to talk about this change and maybe some other policy developments at a state level, but I think this is the big kahuna today. Brian, give us a recap briefly for how we got here, because I was actually trying to summarize it the other day, and I couldn't remember it. Basically, the way I summarized it was, like, everybody's been dancing on the grave of the concept of hemp because some language was passed earlier this year, and I forget, like, how did we get to where we are now, where we needed this, where people were fighting for this extension, I should say.
Yeah, well, let's dig in. So amazing last night, like absolutely incredible. So of course, the Farm Bill, it legalized this plant in every way, shape, or form. It blew the barn door off the barn, and people went insane with it. And then last year, we got a budget to reopen the government. And in that CR was language that brought everything to 0.4 and would kill the hemp industry, which, in my opinion, folks calling things loopholes, and my to put something in a CR to reopen the government and kill hemp, that's a loophole. So there was no choice there. So now last night we have a new budget that got approved, and in that there is an extension. It's only a 4-week, 3-week, 4-week extension right now. Senator Budd tried to get it stripped. It was not stripped. It went through. We now have an extra 4 weeks for the hemp industry. And hopefully in those 4 weeks, we will get some real regulations in this industry. So I think the biggest thing that this did was stop people from calling it a loophole. You don't extend a loophole, do you? Like, stop with the nonsense. This was not a loophole. This was a law. So
Right. I would call it an exception because it was pretty clearly worded. A loophole implies that it was like unclear. It's like pretty clear when you even have like a baseline understanding of cannabis science.
yeah,
Just to
yeah.
like I can explain it to like, you know, a 19-year-old. You know, you don't have to be like, it's not what I'm saying is you don't have to be science minded. You could be
No.
a frat boy or something. I don't know. So yeah, and you get it. It's like, have you ever made brownies? You have to decarb anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
It's an easy explanation. So okay, but so 4 weeks. What do you think is going to come out of that? Do you think we're going to see some set of regulations finally?
You know what? It's hard to tell. Like, there are bills that are out there already to regulate this industry, to carve out beverages, to do several different things. Which one will pass? Which one will get pushed to the side? Will any get passed? I don't know, honestly. I mean, this industry is over 20 years in this industry, and the only thing I'm an expert at is pivoting because stuff changes every day. Um, will we wind up with another extension? I really, my gut is telling me that we're not going to get it together in time, true regulations, and this wording will get extended. So I really think we're going to wind up with another extension beyond the 1 month. And that extension will include, getting rid of the synthetics. Um, so I am hopeful that these politicians will get on the same page and start pushing just one of these fixes. But hoping a politician is I've learned over the years is tough. It's a tough, it's like I was a Cubs fan when I was a kid. It was a rough life. So we'll see how they do. But I think, like I said, at least we got a month extension. My crystal ball kind of tells me we're going to wind up with a longer extension rather than full, a full hemp regulated bill in the next year. But we'll see. I'm hoping they pull it out. I
In the
hope,
next year? You think there's going to be a year extension?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it'll just be like all natural. It'll be the all natural extension. So you're saying there will be like a hey, no more synthetic kind of thing.
Yeah, well, and that's what this extension does. Is this extension takes away the D8. It takes away the converted stuff, which is needed. I mean, and again, I'm going to get a lot of slack from the hemp industry over this, but we don't need this converted garbage. Like, we don't need THCP. We don't need HHC. D8 is natural on a very minuscule level. If we get people D9 on the hemp side, and again, bump it up to 1%, people, bump it up to 1%, and we got 90% of the products out there that's being sold on the marijuana side.
People always say that, and I agree. As I said earlier, I'm looking at some products right now that aren't even close to that threshold. Again, to your point, most would qualify, but why not just 100% deschedule? Or do you think that's not palatable? Like, why do people say that?
Because I don't think it's possible. I don't think that our politicians are just going to give it all to us. And I just go back to the fact that I think we should have medical marijuana, stuff that you have to work with your doctor on. That's codeine, that's Oxycontin. And then we should have adult use hemp that, has some guardrails on it, and that's your aspirin and your ibuprofen.
But what about your like I don't know, people are just having some fun in the alcohol industry. Can't you have some fun? I'm not saying like hurting people, but they have a little bit of fun over there.
Look,
You've seen the products. You've been posting about the Laboozies or whatever the fuck.
oh my God.
I don't mean to bring that up, but like, like they have fun over there. I'm not saying we have to do it like that. I'm just saying that why you just used a couple of kind of serious examples, ibuprofen and Tylenol. Like I view it more like coffee. Like, dude, I drank a little bit of coffee this morning and I'm fucking rolling because I don't drink coffee a lot. And like it's for sure like psychoactive. It's pretty powerful. And if you don't use it often, like I've drank too much coffee before, for example, and but it's just about equal or equivalent, in my opinion, to the experience of smoking too much cannabis, where it's like, okay, I just need to like sit down and drink some water,
Well, and that's the thing. Look, people are going to get out of this what they want out of it. So if we have guardrails and somebody wants to, drink 10 milligram drinks, then they're going to do that. And it's going to be just as potent as medical cannabis can be. And again, it's not about the caps to me. It's about the regulations. It's about making sure that this stuff is tested before it goes to market. It's about making sure that it's not geared towards children, even though, yeah, the Buzzy thing and the, Joe Camel and the candy cigarettes were obviously marketed towards kids. We can do better than that. We don't need to do some of this garbage products, Skizzles or any of that stuff.
I agree. I totally agree, and I want to just clarify again. I was not saying that, but like for example, like a brand like Cheech and Chong, like that's fun. It's colorful. We should be able to do that.
Yeah, 100%. But don't give away a free stuffed animal with it.
Sure.
There's shout out to Buzzballs. But yeah, that's my mindset. We can have adult use market without all the noise about save the kids. Like it's not rocket science.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so you're talking a year. I'm going to call it the all natural extension. I like that.
Yeah, I just don't have the confidence. And again, there are some good ones out there. And our president has said that this stuff needs to be available. Full spectrum CBD is more than just CBD products, whether you want to realize it or not. I just don't know if they're going to be able to get it together in the next, 4 months, to have a new law on the books that regulate the industry yet. I think we're going to have to get another extension for them to really get it together and get something good for us.
Okay. And what do what's your idea? So it sounds like your ideal end goal is like 1%, and that would basically allow for THCA products, edibles, like basically all products, all consumables.
Yeah, if we push this, so right now the point three makes it really hard for these growers, like next to impossible. Unless you are an A plus plus cultivator, you're gonna go over that. Um, so you move that to 1%, and like you said, there are products in the state licensed establishments that are under 1% D9, and they would be considered hemp. And if these adult use and recreational state markets could convert to hemp businesses, then they wouldn't get treated like Al Capone anymore with the 280E. Then they wouldn't be under fire by the federal government, who can at any given time come after them. It would be a game changer for the industry. And like I said, 1% would do it. 1% would open up 90% of the products that are on the market right now.
Yeah. I guess what I was trying to ask about, and then I want to get to a question from Mr. Guapotron 4000. Actually, this question I'm about to ask is sort of inspired by some posts that I've seen Guap post, but also just like generally speaking, it seems to be I'm going to call it sneaking sentiment in the cannabis industry, or the marijuana industry, if you will. It's like, okay. We'll allow for hemp, but it's going to be low dosed edibles, and like basically that's it. Like you can have your 5-10 milligram drinks, but you go any further than that, motherfucker, and you better be in a dispensary. And I'm trying to be funny here. Or if you have an inhalable, you're gonna find yourself in a dispensary, because those products, they belong in that lane, I think is even the verbiage some people use. Your take on that, because it seems like it's like the first time I've seen I wouldn't even call it a middle ground proposal, because from a consumer like myself, I'm like, okay, well then that still doesn't even address my complaints. Low dose drinks do nothing for me, so it's like whatever. But I guess that is the sneaking sentiment. What do you think about that?
I hate it, but it's where we're going to wind up. I hate that the government wants to control us, but the fact is they are going to. At some level, they're gonna put guardrails on us, and it sucks. But God bless America. This is where we are. Um, and again, the fact is, look, in 5 years, if this goes the way that I think it is, and we have caps on gummies and stuff like that, in 5 years, then we're going to be able to circle back and say, well, you put a cap on this, so now diabetes has spiked because people are eating 10 gummies at a time. So
Well, and
that's
that's an interesting thing. I was actually going to say that what I had heard from like a meeting of the minds in Minnesota is that some people were there for like a week, and at the beginning of this is interesting how quick tolerance works. At the beginning of the week, they're like, man, these 5 milligrams, they're crazy. I can only drink one. And by the end of the week, before they had to leave, they were like having like 3 or 4 a night, because tolerance can catch up with you. And I guess my point is like, as much as I complain about the low dose cap, maybe when people like start consuming them regularly, they're going to be like, look, this is ridiculous. I have to drink a 24 pack to feel anything. At least that, like for me, like 5 milligrams, like it'd be ridiculous. Like I like these 50 milligram cans right above my head. Love these. They're great. I
yeah.
drink like 2 or 3 if I'm having fun, more than that. But like, that's good, you know. That's well more than enough for me, you know. Admittedly, I consume a lot of cannabis, but I guess what I'm saying is like, I hate incrementalism, but I have heard that in this context, I might just need to be a little patient.
Yeah, I think we got to start somewhere and then grow from there. Look at this is never going to change. I mean, sorry. this is always going to change.
Sure.
Even when we get there, we're not going to be there. And this will constantly evolve into new things in this industry. I mean, this industry is new. And we've come a long way, but we will continue, over the next 20, 50 years to change what this industry actually is. Right now in my lifetime, I just want to see it legal and rules in place so I can be part of it. And we're almost there, but there's always going to be changes that need to be done. There's always going to be, there's always going to be new stuff that pops up that needs to get knocked down. But I think, our first step is to get it to where even if there are caps on it, at least we're there, and then we can start moving the needle. I mean, let's take it out of the monopoly state operators book. You come in with medical marijuana, and then you kill hemp, and then you get recreational marijuana. Why can't we come in with some caps and some guardrails and then ask for more on the hemp side?
Yeah. I get it. I get it. I guess my thing is like I don't remember when we, ended prohibition this conversation at all. I wasn't alive then. So that's why I don't remember it. No, but you get my point.
Yeah,
And actually my point is like it's just, and I get that that's a different conversation because that's literally a constitutional right, which is wild. That's pretty wild when you think about it like that. But it was left up to the states. And I guess the reason I say that is because I get that some of the things I'm saying are actually like hard for people to wrap their head around. Because like I can go up to the gas station down the road and buy whatever dosage of alcohol I want right now. I can get low dose beer or wine, or I can go and like while out and get some like vodka or something like that.
You still can't get the good stuff in stores, man. Come on, that's my family came from my.
You get my point. Yeah, sure. You might not be able to get it.
I know that prohibition very well. I'm not that old, but I know you got to get the good stuff from the hills. That's where the real good stuff comes from.
But that's anything, right? Tomato. You're not going to get a good tomato by going to most stores, I should say. Like you're going to have to go to a farmer's market or know a guy.
Yeah,
but
you got to go to Kentucky to get the good stuff.
Yeah. You get my point though. I guess the point I was trying to make is that some people, they're like, because they live in a state, you can see me like shaking their head. They can't like compute. They're like, wait, you can get high dose alcohol in a gas station? Because they're always like, I've talked to people from different states where they have to go to a liquor store or they have to go to a dispensary. And so they think like, well, high dose cannabis products must go to a place like that. And that's where I get it. So I'm like, just leave it up to the states. If you come from a state where you guys handle things like that, handle it like that. But I guess, can I ask you, if I like to really drill down my question, why do we have to do that at a federal level? Why can't it be left up to the states? Or do we have to? Because
power and control. I mean, that's what it all comes down to. It's got, I would love to see that happen, but they need power. They need control. And that's what they do to us as as we the people. So yeah, I always thought for years, I said, look, why can't the government just take control of the testing facilities and leave the rest of us alone? Like, there's the weak link. If the government stepped up and basically took all the testing out of the people's hands and everything had to go being tested by our government, then we should be able to do anything we want to with this, as long as it passes their sniff test. But instead, they pick here to control us. I'd rather turn all the testing facilities over to the government, and then they get their peace, then they get their control, and we can, work in that.
Okay. Well, people, drop your comments below. We're about to kind of zoom in to Texas and Illinois, and I think we'll wrap up. But anything else on the federal conversation? You said I guess my question is, you said like, okay, we've got this extension. Doesn't the House still have to pass this, and then it has to go to President Trump's
Yeah,
desk?
yeah. This was just the first step, and like I said, the main win here is it is now recognized that this CR language to reopen the government was just that. They voted to reopen the government. That's what they voted on. They didn't vote to kill him. And now that we have senators stepping up and saying, oh, that needs to be extended, that shows that there is taste for hemp in this country. So that's the big win. But we have a long way to go. I mean, it's still got to go to the House. It's got to go, we'll see what happens in the House. Then it's got to go to the president's, desk. But it is a huge win for the hemp side of things just to get that in there. And for Bud to step up and try to kill it, and for the Senate to say no to him, that's a win. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah. Well, folks, drop your comments below. We can also take callers. Brian, I see Miggy and like I said, Guap are tuned in, so
Miggy!
people can
The hemp
call
haters
in.
are in the house. I love it.
Yeah, if you have questions, colememo.com/live. You can call in now if you want to call in.
Miggy, I'm gonna launch a brand with Miggy and Tom as soon as this all plays out, and we're gonna call it Eating Crow, right, Miggy?
Miggy says he'll jump in. Brian, are you up for another spar? You're just taking on the marijuana people this morning.
100%. Bring it in, Miggy.
Okay, cool. Miggy, let me know if you have any trouble joining. Yeah. Well, I guess since Miggy's coming on, maybe we can talk about Illinois. Illinois, from what were you able to contact any boots on the ground to find out?
I
No?
didn't get a hold of anybody yesterday, but yeah, Illinois, I'm sorry, brother. Like, oh
No, it's
my,
fine. It's
no, I
busy.
mean, I'm sorry for what's going on in Illinois. Like, it's pretty incredible what they're doing there, tightening stuff up. So no, I'm reaching out to folks. I will get back to you on the Illinois stuff as soon as I can.
Okay. There should be a join button on colememo.com/live, Miggy. But let me double check that I posted it.
Well, I haven't been paying attention to the comments. What do we got there? What's Guap asking if I smoke weed? Is that what he's asking?
Oh yeah. Sorry, we missed that question. Hold on. He asked if he gave you eighth. Oh, here it is. I'll read it aloud for people that are listening. Q for Brian. If I buy 1,000/8 of THCA, what percent would he not want to burn and inhale?
So it's very well known that I do not partake. Look, there was a time, a long time ago when, I'm a veteran. My sleep was garbage. It was a medicine for me. I used it for a short period of time, and it helped and it worked. But I'm not a consumer, which, I get a lot of shit for that in the industry. But at the same time, Miggy.
What's up, dude?
What's up,
Miggy?
brother?
Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thank
Yep.
you. Awesome,
We got a
dude.
little bit of an echo.
You know what? Let me put my headphones on. Let me switch. Fucking.
Cool. I'm gonna take you down just for a second. Did you answer the question? You said you don't consume.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh.
I did. I used it for medicine years ago.
Hypothetically, if you did, what percent would you not want to burn and inhale? Sorry, I'm gonna hold you to Guap's question.
Yeah, I'm not. I think he's just giving me crap there.
Okay.
But there is nothing wrong with THCA flower. Like, it's the real deal. It is actually what the plant makes. So
I read on the Dank Informer that it's pesticide-laden Chinese maggot-infused flower.
Yeah, the stank misinformer I'm sure gets stock options every time he throws out one of his hemp hater comments. Um, so yeah, I love those guys.
How's it better?
That's better,
Yeah.
Miggy.
No, it's probably actually stuff from his licensed marijuana grows that they have they get some bugs on, so they have to spray it with pesticides and then pull it and they sell it in the hemp market. So
I mean, it's
yeah.
all silly to me. If you just some are gonna be mids and some might be good, dude. I trust you might have real flower. I just don't think the laws are good in the sense that like everybody wants to jerk off hemp, but it's like it's the same fucking plant, man. Like we need one fucking rule for everybody, you know? Like everybody's jerking each other off as far as like, oh no, it's gotta be weed or it's gotta be, but it is medicine. Like that's the thing, right? Like you even said you were taking it for medicine, so it's not like I hemp hate, dude. So are you? So I don't care what anybody does in this industry. Like that's the thing is like, so many people do so many things. Right now, I'm going through archives of shit that I have from like medical days and prohibition days, right? Like I got fucking just I'm a average citizen who fucking just wants legal weed, right? Like the hemp thing is I mean, it's nothing I think you're eventually it's gonna be one plant, right? You're gonna have to fucking shift your what do you do? What are you like the mid guy? Are you a shipper? Or are you like I don't know what the fuck people do.
Oh yeah, no, me, I help other people open their businesses. That's what I've done for years. On the adult use or on the marijuana side, I help them with their applications. I help them with their plans. I help them get open, their doors open. Same thing on the hemp side. I'm helping people open their businesses and make sure they're compliant.
So you play on both
Um,
sides.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's about opening businesses to me.
yeah.
And Cole, I just want to point out that I don't know when the last time Miggy was on here, but they got their dispensary open.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, bro.
Thanks, man.
Huge, huge.
You know, it's funny that you and Tom call it a dispensary. I mean, it's just a fucking pot shop. Like, it's just another fucking store. Like, that's what the you know, like eventually we'll get gas station weed again. I mean, like, whatever. It's you. I can buy aspirin in a gas station, but like, it takes a while to get to those rules, you know. And I think rescheduling, we need to lock it in as medicine, right? Hemp doesn't do that. Hemp doesn't say this is legit, but yet you want to use it as the plant. So that's my only issue with like calling things hemp. It's like you just can we get past the whole fucking can I have a water pipe? You know what I mean? Like that's we're not there. And
Yeah,
that ain't helping.
and we were talking about this earlier with Annie, bro. It look, I really think that calling it hemp is what took it mainstream. Like, I think that, I personally, I had a great aunt who got sick a few years ago, and I went to her and I was like, "Hey, try this stuff," and she was like, "Well, what is it?" And I said, "It's hemp." And she was like, "What do you mean it's hemp?" And we got into it, and then when she finally figured out it was cannabis, she was like, "Oh, no, 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 I'm not taking this." And I was like, "But we got a conversation started because I called it hemp."
Sure.
And
Well,
it
that's part of
opened
that.
up, until she shut me down. And then I had to
Right.
talk to her doctor and my mom in a group setting about this plant. My mom still tells people I turned drug dealers into business owners. So,
I mean, kudos for the whole THC beverage thing. Like, I think that's cool. That helped, I think, start a conversation for like a lot of normies who are going to the liquor store, right? Grown adults trying to look for something to do, but like in the end, you're all just trying to get high, and we need the rules that say, hey, I can get high and take it across state lines and be left the fuck alone. You know, like there's so much more to do that like this hemp circle jerk it needs to end. Like as far as like the one rule, like even the CMS plans can be bad. Like all this shit's bad no matter what. We got 50 bad ways of it right now in 50 states. You know, like it's just all bad. There's no, that's why I mean I don't care if you can sell hemp and sell those weed. Everybody should do their thing, right? Like that. But the influencers, the kids, it's all just dumb shit. That it's like it's not the thing that like Seattle Hemp Fest, dude. It used to be 300,000 people that would show up on this little mile and a half area of Seattle area, and nothing fucking happened for 20 some odd years. Like that's just weed. It's a non sequitur, right? But like because people still have that stigma, like your mom who didn't want to talk about it, or whatever. Like there's a lot of people like that. I even had a neighbor. I live in a at the time was a medical adult who had brain cancer, and I had people who gave me RSO to give to them, and they were like, "Oh no, the religion or whatever didn't want them to let it do it." So I got a free fucking tube of RSO. So I mean, it's just we still have a lot of stigma thing. Hemp has helped the big conversation, but overall, ain't done shit. You know what I mean? Like rules wise. That's all. I don't care if
Yeah.
people make their bag. I don't care if Dopus Yola sells fucking blinkers and fucking Eric Kahn sells shitty weed. That is,
I mean, it's
I bought
helped
it.
me like to get I get my all my home grow seeds by way of hemp.
Wow, that's about to end too. Did the new rule at least change that? What they're trying to push the seeds portion? Or are we just trying to keep businesses alive?
So that's a good question, and actually, it fits right into where we were segueing. Basically, no matter what happens at a federal level, and that's why Brian was just apologizing to me when you joined. No matter what happens at a federal level, the hemp ban, as it was proposed to take effect in November, will take effect in Illinois. Does
Well,
that
that's a
does
state level thing, all right? That's
It's a
that's
correct?
not
state
Yep.
a
level thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. So that will take effect in Illinois, and as a result, I do believe, because this was asked in one of the early proposals, the one of the early legislative discussions on this hemp ban, as it were, you can still buy things online and have it delivered to your door. That the legislation doesn't cover that per se, but yes, like grow shops, from what I understand, are going to have to stop selling seeds. Of
Ooh.
course, the smoke shops will have to stop selling like THCA flower and whatever else they might be selling. But yeah, that's going to be the state of affairs in Illinois come November.
Like Brian, why do you why are you involved in cannabis hemp? What made you get involved? Like, what's your background? And again, I don't know anybody's fucking backstory or nothing. I just like to tell people stories, you know.
Yeah. So I know, Chloe, you want me to go into it again? I know we caught it at the beginning of this session, but yeah,
Go ahead.
Megan, this plant was not on my radar at all growing up. And in 2002, I was running a district for Walmart. They moved me out to Northern California to run the Northern California district.
Yeah,
And I met some folks that were third and fourth generation growers, and they educated me on this. And I saw what it could actually do for people. They put the
sure.
ski mask on my head backwards and brought me up to the farms and educated me. Um, and when I learned how this medicine worked, I jumped in. I was telling Cole, my dad passed away from cancer when I was 17 years old. It was fire and brimstone, the devil's lettuce when I grew up.
Hmm.
And if I knew then what I knew now, my life would be different. So I'm in it because it's medicine. That's originally why I came in to this industry, is
Right
because it
on.
helps people. So call it hemp, call it marijuana, call it cannabis. Everybody uses it as medicine in some way, shape, or form. And that's why I'm in this industry.
Right on. I mean, eventually there'll be one rule. I mean, right? Like eventually these guys will get their shit together one day, maybe. Who knows? But
Yeah.
like,
No,
I
I still,
go ahead.
I think we're going to have medical marijuana and adult use hemp in the end. Um, and just imagine when you can take your dispensary and turn it into a hemp dispensary and not have to pay 280E and be treated like Al Capone on your adult use stuff.
It'll be a pot shop. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
that's the evolution of it. I mean, like the dispensary term, the pharmaceutical type thing. I mean, I think it's nice that people still call it that, but I never thought about legalization before how to get there, and then seeing it in different states in different ways. I mean, everybody's fucked no matter what they do. I mean, if you got big money, we it's nice that we're at where we're at, but we still got to just break even. That's my hope. Go ahead, bro.
Brian, you understand that by calling it adult use hemp, just that simply, even though most people will get on the same page as you, like that, just using those words loses so many people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, call it a high hemp. I mean, you just want to call it weed in the
Yeah.
end. That's all it fucking is, and that's the issue. Is like, again, wink, nudge, nudge. Why? Why do we have to do this? It delays an inevitable societal like view. I think you know. What I mean, like you, the normalization is mostly here, mostly, and you know we're getting there. That's where I think the hemp and the fucking THC drinks help with normalization. But like the rules, you know, the rules are coming. They need to be available for everybody. One of the big issues here in Washington State when we had medical, it was awesome. We had farmers markets. I had dabs I could do at the counter when I buy my fucking weed for $2. It was a fucking pothead's dream. And then when the rules came on for adult use, uh, that all went away. Like uh, medical loses in the end always. That's why rescheduling is important, I think. But like, you know, I'm good on you guys for making your bag. I don't hate you, man. It's all. Everyone thinks we're mad at hemp. Tom is maybe, but like,
If it here's a question, Miggy, to throw it back your way because I just threw it Brian's way.
yeah.
You always bring up one rule. What if the one rule was hemp?
Well, I mean, is it going to be weed? Are we regulating THC here? What are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like in the end, it's like you want a full spectrum, fucking naturally grown, uninhibited plant from some hippie with fucking dreadlocks and fucking stinky armpits, right? Like that's you want something organically, the dream, the garden, but
Yeah.
like we're not there yet. And to get there, we need everybody who worried about Walmart weed
No, but we
before.
Miggy though, we
Uh,
are. I
yeah,
guess we are no, hold on. We
go
are
ahead.
there because like
Yeah,
what I was asking for in my state in 2019 wasn't necessarily a dispensary. It was to stop looking over my shoulder with the police. And so the fact that dispensaries are available is awesome, but I already had the problem of acquiring cannabis solved. And I still get it by and large from the same people I did back in the day. We just
nice.
call it hemp now because then the cops go, "Oh, it's hemp. It's a get out of jail free card essentially." So like that's my thing that it's like I call it's kind of what Brian said earlier. Call it hemp, whatever you want. I'm just calling we're calling it that right now because it's what makes
Yeah.
it legal. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
like water. I mean, every state has different fucking rules, which is frustrating, right?
I guess what I'm
Like
asking is, what do you not see that's cool about that, man? As a cannabis consumer, like this is
because
what
I
I
live in a
don't.
state where I don't even have to have my ass puckered anymore. Like I don't worry about anything. Like I don't.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it's that's my society though. It's like everything changes at the borders here from Washington. Like right, like it's like first off, I live in like the proper of Seattle, so that's already like I smell weed and I can't tell if it's me or fucking somebody around me, right? Like, you know, and then everybody wants to hype about the money coming into weed, but there's still always a bottom line, like even for the store, right? Like we're just trying to find that sweet spot of just like not going broke, you know, and then paying back the debt, which will still be another year and a half, right? Like if I wanted to open a restaurant, if I had a passion about that, no matter what it is, it's gonna suck. Like you just gotta do it if you really, really want to do it. You know, like when I was 18 and thought about like selling weed, and I did, like in the illicit market, but then to get a good like level of just like paying rent, like the money I make in tech, it's a lot of weed you gotta sell. You know, and then that's where it gets dangerous, especially in the illicit market. You know, the rules will protect people, not just like the safe access type shit. You know, there's all different fundamental like once it becomes like booze, like how many times do you feel the urge to go like break into something because they have a six pack or something, right? Like, it's not, you can just go to the store. It's not a thing, but we just need overall rules. Hemp has helped, like I said, it has helped like, you know, propagate the conversation, but like the hemp people themselves too haven't helped change the laws. Like I get we're all wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We know what it is, but like the next generation, the next consumer shouldn't have to be like, oh, I don't know. I guess I want to get high, but I'll call it hemp just for that purpose. You know, why not? It's just fucking weed,
But that's the thing,
cannabis.
Mike.
Yeah.
For me, the conversation doesn't stop there. It's like it was pretty cool that in 2018 I could finally just call it something different and then automatically not have to worry about the concept. But to your point, Miggy, I'd like to just be able to
Oh
not
yeah,
do a wink, wink, nudge, nudge and actually call it cannabis. Like that's where I'm pushing. Brian, sorry.
No, I mean, here's the thing: is folks like Annie, Miggy in Washington where they have access to it all. They can get what they want when they want it. But there are other states where that's not the case. And we have to call it hemp now. You look at these Texas, again, our medical program is horrible.
Yeah, it's bad. Do you guys
We
have hemp?
need hemp.
But
That's
that's what
all
you
there
have.
is to it. That's what the people here have.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of, one of the problems is some of these states rolled out their program and it's working for them. Well, I don't think any state's program is really working for them, but they have a program, they have access, and they don't understand what hemp does for people because they're removed. And all they do is read, stuff online about, about this. So
one of the arguments in Washington State when they killed medical, they're like, oh, you can't. Medical limits it to the population, right? That's a big argument, right? Where it's like, oh, everybody should have access plant. Whether you have a back problems or you feel like you're gonna have a case of the Mondays, the normie should have access, and that's what hemp has done. It has like given a lot of like, hey, this is weed. Weed is helping people, but again, you're still weak. Hemp, Texas, cause you're in Texas, huh, dog? Like that's where you're at. You guys started with the hemp in the medical program. Like your guys' limitation, and it's all extract based. It's just gross.
1%. It was horrible. And
Yeah,
and Miggy, I was in Northern California for 20 years. I've been in Texas for 5-6 years now.
oh, right on.
So yeah, the product that you could get in the medical program was 1%.
Yeah.
So people in Texas could get better product from a gas station in
Yeah,
Texas.
that's gross. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why you guys champion hemp, and I know Cole too. I don't. That's why I don't give him shit. Like everybody wants to like you kind of have legalization, right? Like that's the thing. Like why be satisfied with just the hemp shit still? Like that's the like going through all my shit as I go through my archives of fucking from 1996. I got shit that I'm just like documentation of like marches that we done and letters of people from prison that I have that
I'm not
are
satisfied with hemp, but I definitely don't want to lose the little bit of progress it got me. Like
oh
literally, Miggy,
dude
like this November,
yeah
I've been asking the state, how do I buy seeds from a dispensary? Because technically that will be my only legal option come November as a medical patient. And
mm-hmm.
like we've not been able to get an answer on that question for 6 years. And admittedly, they do say they're working on it. And admittedly, it wasn't until the last like until they switch to metric, I guess, that they've been able to. But again, it's like, man, I'm going to be caught in this weird legal limbo, technically speaking. Technically speaking. Again, most people laugh at me when I say that because they're like, Cole, you're a home grower. We've been getting seeds for years, well
Yeah.
before hemp. But again, hemp has provided me cover because it's like, sorry, it's hemp,
Well,
you know?
you raise an important question, and I think that under rescheduling, it'll get like the rule needs to get shaped around that, right? Because then, like Texas will be a trigger law state. You'll fucking have real weed finally that you can actually get involved in, and then Illinois, we're going to be applying for they're structuring it so we can be medical. Like that's now the whole wink, wink, nudge, nudge, right? Like, but I don't want to be like this fake medical. But we're structuring the program is structuring so now we can be all federally compliant, right? In a line. And at that point, hopefully Illinois, because there is no real federal rule, maybe hopefully fingers crossed we can get involved with Illinois as far as like adding seeds to the fucking market. Like that is hope we need to save the seeds to Cole's point, right? What up, Guap?
Greetings, Earthlings.
Hey.
Wow.
We all know each other, but do we really? And when I saw you guys talking, I had to tap in and at least say hey in this casual portion. I mean, if we're ripping bong rips, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for joining, Guap. Thanks for joining.
So, Guap, you mad at Brian?
Matt?
So I just got to respond to Mickey really quick. Mickey, so Texas, does not have flower in their medical program.
Yeah.
So there is no flower in the medical program. And as far as real weed in Texas, it is hemp. And it's better than the mids that you get at True Leaf and GTI and the rest of them.
I believe it.
So let's keep it in perspective.
No, I believe the hemp program's better. Your weed's better in Texas. Just like probably the same thing in Nevada. Nevada, I haven't had any good weed in Nevada at all yet. Someone prove me wrong for the love of God, but I used to think everybody could grow good weed, and not to say hemp's not weed. And that's the issue.
It is.
It's what?
If you would allow me, I would love to reframe this conversation a little bit.
Please.
If we can agree, and let's find common ground where we want to go. Full decrim on a federal level. Annie was all right about that. Boom. Right? Expunge records. Get the guys out of jail that were just nonviolent pot smokers and sold a little to their friends. Who cares? Right? Bring them all home. That's good. Next step. Again, this is where we want to go. Full recreational, descheduled at a federal level. So we can talk all about how we get there. But wouldn't that be nice if we get all the way there? That's what we all want. Annie, Brian, Miggy, I think.
100%.
Right? Yeah. And so if we can talk about how we get there, I think that's a better conversation than making it what I think a lot of people want to do is make it this versus that all the time. And it's like more about what's the pathway. And arguing about the pathway is good enough. Uh-oh. You went full guap live.
Just giving you the platform.
But yeah,
man.
I mean, decriminalize, deschedule nationally at a recreational level. And then I think Annie's right. On the medical side, we've gotten away from where we started, which is making an RSO and giving it to people who need it. I think medical has the term, again, and so much of this is semantics and battling what we should call it this, we should call it that. So I wanted to sort of start at the end point and then work our way back. If medical, for medical purposes, is made at medical grade, think like what Germany's kind of doing, although they're importing some flour and stuff, but think more just for the patient. Should they really be smoking their medicine? Is Khalifa Kush smoking in Florida medicine for medical patients in Florida? Right? No. So if we think about, and again, all this is just businesses and corporations moving into cracks. We see this opportunity here where MSOs, we see this opportunity where hemp, that you can't blame the animal for doing what it instinctually wants to do, right? The black market sees cracks, it fills them. So this is all fluid and dynamic, and I think we'll eventually get to the promised land where we want to go. But in the meantime, we're just, like Annie kind of said, we're just sorting out the details. And I hate when sorting out the details wrecks businesses of like real people who I know on all sides of this, right? And it's so, for me, it's tough to watch. But if hemp, again, call it whatever you want, industrial hemp, let's call it industrial hemp, it comes for textiles, building, food, medical grade stuff, helping medical patients, full descheduling, full decrim. I think that's the world I want to live in. How about you guys?
I think to add to your point, dude, you got to add, like, because you mentioned the term medical grade, right? So, like, in here in Washington State, we had the medical first, and then we have legit patients, right? People who, and fucking nerds, right? That just study the plant, study, like, composite biology. Shit, I don't fucking care. Dude, this is what I do. This is electronics. That's what I get off on. I don't bio shit. But, like, medical, what is medical grade? What is good weed? It's a human consumable plant. Whether we smoke it or not, you just want good weed. What is good weed? So, the thing is, we're talking about purities of like the flower, you know. And again, when you mentioned about smoking as a medicine, you know, it is for some people. You know, you see that video of that guy who has like seizures and he smokes out of a fucking pipe and then he calms down and everything, right? That's another misconception of how like perception of medicine and how we consume it. You know, this is a human consumable product that, you know, it's very boring when you look at the overall how we're going to get to where we're going to get, right? Because people smoke cigarettes and cigarettes are just crap, you know, but tobacco in itself is maybe not as much crap. And then like when we get to weed testing, like what is medical grade? Like when it comes to the testing required, whether it be like
Yeah.
the metals, the purities, the pesticides, all the shit that real patients actually need. But again, it's a human combustible plant. I don't want to fucking eat McDonald's every day, you know, but every once in a while you do, you know, because you know it's not good for you. You know, and sometimes some of this weed's not good for you, whether it be in a reg market or not. But the more informed the consumer is, that's will be better.
Yeah.
That's what the
I,
go ahead.
I agree. Smoking weed is medicine. I have many friends who use it medicinally, who that was their only option. There was no hemp market back then. There was no edibles. There was no anything. And so smoking and the immediate relief it provided was crucial. My worry moving forward, and now that we're becoming this legitimate industry, is that our insurance company is going to reimburse you for smoking weed, as much weed as you want, because you have a medical card. Like it's for me, it's gonna have
Well,
to
doesn't Canada have that?
qualify and get the insurance reimbursement and get the tax freeness.
We
It may need to be held to just a slightly higher standard than.
but we have a whole country to look at, man. Like there's a whole place we can reference, Canada, right? I think they do have their health
Yeah.
reimbursement, right? Now the CMS program's stupid, right? It's a limited money grab right now. Like none of this shit's fucking fun or good. But again, people are gonna always smoke weed and buy weed, right? Like to Cole's point
Absolutely.
earlier, you know, he's gonna get seeds if that's what you want to do. Dude, growing's fucking hard. I got a whole bunch of seeds down here that I'm afraid to touch because I'm gonna want to fuck it up. You know what I mean?
No, but I think more to your point, Guap, that you know if we're going to talk about medical, it should probably fit to that same profile as the other medical options that are available. Like I've literally had a conversation with my doctor, and he's like, "I'd love to have a conversation with you about this, but the products you're going and picking yourself first of all from the medical dispensary, nothing else in our interaction. Like everything else in a normal interaction with my doctor, they're giving you a prescription." And you go to the pharmacy and you are getting exactly what they told you that you should be getting,
Yeah.
right? And so to your point, it's like a standardized thing. It's a little bit more than like smoking something. And again, I'm not saying still that there aren't medical benefits to it. I've felt them. You know, if you're sick and you take a quick hit, like, you know, I'm not
Nothing better.
saying it doesn't feel exactly. It feels great, of course, but I think you made a great point in that, like, if we're going to talk about medical, perhaps, you know, that's what that lane might look like.
Might look like, again, if you were like starting a country tomorrow and setting the regulations right from the start. That's how I like to think about it.
Hmm. And then
Yeah.
further to your point, like, and this is
But
like
then
I
full
think
D-Sketch right next to it. So
right.
if Cole
yeah.
and I don't trust doctors to give me the correct dose of my pill form you know, whatever it is, we could still go right to the store next door at the bodega and pick out exactly what we want and treat ourselves.
Bingo. Yes,
But I'm saying
exactly.
if I'm gonna get, you know, Blue Cross Blue Shield to reimburse me, they're probably gonna want me to take this RSO here that's at this, which
Yeah.
is they're right.
You're talking like dosages now, right? We're talking like
Yeah,
but
that's where Cole and I get a little nutty with the hemp drinks. He gets really defensive about it, and I'm just
how
what
so?
I'm
The
trying to
math?
do, which is really hard to do on X, is to find like where I think it's gonna go. There's what I want, there's what I don't
Yeah,
want, and then
100%.
there's where I think it's gonna go.
Dude, the money involved right now is insane. Like to see where like how a true leave in the stock market, never thought of that shit. Like, and again, seeing legalization how it shapes to get to the point, like you said, in the end, decrim and everything. You
Who would
know?
have predicted this path?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Who
hemp
saw all
didn't.
this come? Who saw all this coming in 2020? Not me.
Listen, I definitely I get offensive about the dosage cap. I like start attacking. No, but one thing I just wanted to put out there, and then I can give space for each of us if we want to, have our
You guys
piece.
have been doing this a while. I just crashed the party at the end just to say hi to Brian.
I
and
appreciate you coming on. I
Yeah.
appreciate you
Yeah,
coming
dude,
on.
yeah.
One thing I want to put out in the ether is like, many people couch the progress for cannabis as like in something of the effect of it's safe, therapeutic, or spiritual. And I'm not debating that any of those things are true or untrue. I'm not here to debate that because I've found truth in all of those statements, to be completely honest. But I think we really need to like continue to frame this discussion about cognitive liberty as well. Like we live in a free country where we're free to engage in many behaviors that aren't safe or therapeutic or spiritual. And it's like, and I'm just saying that in a country where, and I know we all agree here, I'm just putting this out into the ether, like I say, in a country where, because we never had to couch the legalization of cigarettes or alcohol on its safe or therapeutic nature or whether or not it's spiritual, right? So it's like, but anyway, again, I know we all agree here, but just for people that might be tuning in, so.
To your point, and everybody's point, I think the holistic option is something that needs to be championed, right? Because it is a wellness thing, but it should be like holistic. It's a plant. Like people fucking take oranges or lavender to calm down, drink tea or whatever. It's a my choice for your health.
Here's what I want to do before we go. Brian, you haven't talked for a second. Do you have any other hemp updates? And Guap and Miggy, do you have any questions about like the current landscape of hemp this morning? Because Brian's been living, breathing, and eating it.
Man.
Yeah, well, first thing I want to do is basically, go to Guap. Thank you for joining, bro. Very nice to finally meet you face to face, or screen to screen. I think you're absolutely right. We want, in the end, access. Access for everyone, not certain states, not certain people, not just access for everyone. And how we get there is the problem, and it is one that I don't think is that hard to solve. These states can do what they want on this, when it comes to medical stuff, and adult use stuff. But we need this at the federal level. Like, we need guidance at the federal level. That is the only way that this gets fixed, and that each state has a beacon. And then the states can decide if they want to go harder or go, how they want to do this. But we have to have something at the federal level. And unfortunately, it's been the Farm Bill. Fortunately and fortunately, it's been the Farm Bill and the really lack of rules and regulations at that level. It's just wide open with the Farm Bill language. So each state has gone through and kind of done their own thing, just kind of shooting in the dark. So I really think the federal, a federal bill is what is going to allow every state to make better choices and understand what they're doing, because they don't know right now, and every state is different. And I have watched this roll out. I've worked in over a dozen states now, and I've watched each state roll their programs out and get a little better at being corrupt. That's what they've done. Every state that rolls out, they get a little bit better at how to fix the game. It's incredible to watch. So I really think our solution comes at the federal level, and hopefully that will happen within the next 6 months.
I don't know if you caught it, Guap, but Brian's calling for a year extension.
Yeah, I mean,
predicting a year
for
extension.
me,
I'm like,
hopping on the phone here, the show, like it was just to say hi and
oh no, I would
predict the future. In terms of weighing in on how we unclusterfuck this fuck, like it's tough right now. You caught me on a Saturday morning. hippies speedballing with Cole, you know, like
Yeah. No, I was just hoping for a moment of like I
clarity.
wasn't trying to. Yeah. No. No.
No,
No.
you
No.
won't
No.
get any clarity here. It's all.
I was actually hoping for a moment of like, boy, how do we find ourselves here?
What
Yeah.
Guap, what
I don't know
is
how
your
it's going to turn out. Oh, what I do is I think about things in terms of scenarios and percentages on the scenarios, and try to think about, you know, there's separating what I want in my heart,
Right.
what is in your, you know, the financial interest of Guap, what is in, you know, what is, you know, that's different, and so that's tough, but it's all about how we get there. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
the extension, like it makes sense to me. What I think, honestly, my take on this is Kessler wants the CBD program to go well. I think for the good of the plant, the forward progress and momentum. I know Miggy has his concerns about the program, and so do I. We need good data to come from it. And wouldn't the data be better if full spectrum, meaning there's a little bit of THC in there? Wouldn't the data be better? Wouldn't people feel better if there was just a little bit of THC along with the proper dose of CBD, like meaningful dose, not 10 milligrams in a drink, like 200, 300 milligrams is what some of these doctors would actually dose you with, before you start worrying about liver problems at like way higher amounts. But, you know, like, I think that's this what the worry was, where I was starting to hear things, and you saw the same reports from the White House saying, you know, the White House supports the extension, supports the ban being pushed back a little bit. I think it's to work out this stuff for full spectrum CBD. Now, what I want is for it to also include some drinks and edibles available nationwide, because I do think even if you're an MSO, you want that. You want drinks and edibles everywhere, turning the Canna curious into Canna consumers. Whether I just think that's good, right? Like we've seen the drink. Like I can thank the hemp space for proliferating drinks everywhere. I never thought it would take off like that. And the amount of people I've gone from never trying cannabis to trying cannabis for the first time with those can trips, Cole, from our friend Ad, I'm like 9 for 10 in terms of just like, hey, why don't you have a sip of this instead of the alcohol you know is terrible for you? Like it's amazing at that conversion. So there's like what I want for the goodness of the plant in terms of the pathway towards the eventuality, future promised land I talked about. And then there's what I think might happen. And that's all broken down in scenarios of like lobby dollars and all this shit. I don't, you know, it's everyone fighting for their own business interest. And like I said, you cannot fault the animal for doing what it instinctually wants to do.
yeah. Absolutely. Well said. Well said. Some actually a
I
lobbyist
hope
once.
some of that made sense. I think at least Miggy knows what I'm saying.
No, I totally get it, dude. So
You're spot on.
Brian, yeah, Brian, you just signed on to a show with 3 heads. It's like,
well,
I love it. And you guys know I don't do these shows. Like I have not done many of these at all. I think I was on with Tom years ago.
yeah,
I'm glad that we're doing this because
I thought you were a thumbnail.
it's yeah it's
Brian's first time.
it's a crazy industry, and the way that the government has divided us, honestly, like literally, like the old cartoon with the king sitting on the deck looking down and saying, you don't have to fight the pitchfork people, you just have to what is that, you just have to convince that the shovel people want to take their pitchforks away, and boom, that's where we're at when it comes to marijuana and hemp. So no, I love having this discussion with you guys. I chime in a lot on some of these podcasts and give y'all give y'all shit. I love it.
I mean, like the hemp thing is cool, man. I mean, like I'm glad that you're making money at it. Because in the end, what we're talking about right here, what I'm looking at is 2 people.
Oh, Mickey, I'm not making money in this shit. I never have. I've been in this industry.
That's a myth. Yeah,
that is a lie. Just so you know.
You're not, are you not involved in shit then? Like, how do you? But that's the thing. Is like that's all I've been doing. I just happen to be a guy that's been talking about it for years. Now owns a pot shop. Like I just. And even still, just seeing the business end of things, right? Like, there's so many life in general. Like, I don't know, you guys must be coming from finance, I guess, or something. Like, you guys are actually involved in like business and shit, right? Like, that's not what I mean, I understand
No.
business, but I never wanted to like not, because the cannabis rules are so convoluted and fucked up. You know, it's gonna be like just, it's like buying a boat. You're throwing money into a thing until fucking, every once in a while you can take it out, it looks cool, but it still needs maintenance, and like, just that's running a business. It's not like selling QPs out of your trunk and then flipping that, anymore. It's legit. Tom shared with me the metrics for our store, so we have, like, behind the scenes. I was like, hey man, my wife keeps asking me questions about shit, and I'm just like, I don't know, he's not freaking out right now, so it's like, we're okay, right? Like, the biggest game in this whole thing has always been the property for a lot of fuckers. Like, well, if you're talking about how people lost their business on both sides, here in Washington State, when medical flipped, they did it fucked up, because they turned this whole, first, medical existed for a little bit. Then they had another rule that came down, SB 5052, that killed the medical. Like, it used to be like, if you had a caregiver, holistic caregiver, somebody who with crystals could fucking give you a prescription, and that was cool. That's why it was a really good market back then. But like, there was legit people who were sick and they were using it as medicine. And so like, 5052 killed a bunch of people who were, I think, in my opinion, entrepreneurs at the time. Like how you guys are protecting hemp and defending. That's how I saw these people who actually like took a chance, and like, this is even before there were rules, right? And then once our adult use rules kicked in, they had to apply. They had to reapply for this fucking industry that they started, essentially, right? They had to reapply for this thing, and a lot of them lost, or a lot of them just didn't have sometimes a bad bet on their town, where they put all their investment into one building and then there's a moratorium. There were so many different bad things that happened. Oregon, I think, did it right. They said, hey, if you're medical, just flip your fucking sign. You're the market. Like, no shit. But Washington State decided to fuck all the people that was originally part of it. And then, and again, our state requires two different requirements for lab testing. There's a medical grade and there's the adult use. But it's fucking the same plant. It's a human consumable plant. Like, the rules suck no matter where we're at right now. Like, and we're the long state. No home grow rights, no nothing.
And if we go to federal, that may continue. It still sucks to buy alcohol in Utah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But anyway, I know we could go anywhere and everywhere. Does anybody want to say anything before we go? I do want to wrap soon. I'm gonna wrap like a 1 gram joint. No, I'm joking. I want to wrap the show here soon.
Yeah.
I appreciate you all joining me this morning. It's been a lot of fun.
Annie was great. I felt myself nodding along with Annie. It's hard to make sense of people on X, and so to hear her sort of stance, if you will, it made a lot of sense to me. It clicked. So if you're watching now, go back and watch Annie, because she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, I really agree. She came at me on X, and I was like, let's actually, when I looked at who she was, I was like, she needs a voice. Like, she does some of her own things. But Cole, thank you so much for getting her on here.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's cool to that's kind of what I try to do here sometimes. I invite people from all sides of the topic, as some people know. Even some of the folks from SAM have been on the show, and
That's
I
cool.
try to foster, long format conversations, and sometimes people will be like, well, I give this person or that person a platform. It's like, I want to give people the opportunity to explain the nuance, and also I think it's going to be pretty crazy for people of the future to look back on these conversations potentially, and see what people thought at the time.
100%.
That's kind of the public service, I guess. Besides the fact that I just think that these conversations are truly interesting. So.
And Cole, I know you're busy, so we can, let's do another one of these where I can go over Texas, because
Cool.
This is insane. Another lawsuit's going to be filed on Monday. Delta 8 is now a felony now, so Texas has has lost its mind. They still haven't approved any of these conditional licenses, so I can't wait to see who they knock out of the running with these conditional approvals. From the anal probe that was the follow-up questions. It was a Texas-sized anal probe, those conditional questions. So yeah, we could
Everything's
spend
bigger
all
in
night.
Texas.
Yeah, man. This state is insane with what we've been going through here.
Yeah,
So-
honestly, I just want to give condolences to all of us. Texas, Chicago. I'm in North Carolina where we have a very nice hemp program. And honestly, I could see a lot of those operators, just like in Virginia, ending up in the regulated space should we ever get our shit together. So my condolences. I think a lot of us who are in these sort of weird or not quite ideal areas tend to buckle down and pay attention just that much more. I had to like convince people in California that this hemp industry was growing. You know what I mean? Like they're just unaware. And so yeah, here we are.
Well said. Well said. Well,
Not really.
Cheers to all of you. Please keep in touch, all of you. I can't imagine the cannabis world without each of you. Seriously. So, yeah. Make it good.
Oh wow.
Little old me. All right. Well, again, thank you all. Everybody, have a great morning. Happy Saturday, and keep fighting the good fight. We all want to free the plant, so let's do that. Cheers.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Yeah, same.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you don't want to miss another broadcast, be sure to subscribe on YouTube or at colememo.com/subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please like, share, and consider visiting colememo.com/support. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you'll join me on the next broadcast of
The Cole Memo.
The Cole Memo.
The Cole Memo.
The Cole Memo.
This drug is dangerous. You cannot play with it. It's not funny. It's not something to laugh about. Good people don't smoke marijuana.
I got the memo.
Thanks, Cole Memo. Appreciate it.